My Jordan's high top, snap back, fitted cap. My Jordan's high top, snap back, fitted cap. My Jordan's high top, snap back, fitted cap. My Jordan's high top, snap back, fitted cap.
Hey, what's up guys? How we doing? Today I want to talk a little bit about the keys to playing shortstop. I've gotten 1,000 requests over the last few months to put up a video about the keys to playing shortstop after I put the keys to playing third base up a few months ago. And I've had a lot of requests. I haven't really had time to get to the shortstop one, but I wanted to take a few minutes today and throw some things down about the keys that I think it takes to playing shortstop. So, in my opinion, shortstop is the most demanding position to play in the infield. Over the last 2 seasons, I've played the utility role for my team throughout the year, and although most of my time comes playing second base and third base, I've had a lot of time both in games and especially in practice playing shortstop. And the position requires you to have some innate abilities that many other infield positions really don't require you to have. So today I wanted to go over a few of these things and talk about what I really believe it takes to play the shortstop position. Now I'm not going to go over the obvious things it takes to play shortstop, like having great range and a strong arm and all those things, because we all know that. But instead I want to get into some more specifics about things you need to master in order to be good at the position. So I think the first thing that it takes to play shortstop is the understanding of angles. So at shortstop, there can't be a whole lot of wasted movement. If you take your time or if you take a bad angle on a ball, it will be the difference between an out or a safe call at first base, especially once you get to higher levels of baseball where the game is really fast and you don't have time to take your time or to take bad angles and still make the play. Everything's got to be really efficient, and you have to be smart about where you're going at all times. So it takes not only a very gifted athlete to play shortstop regularly at the high levels of baseball, but it takes a really smart player to understand mentally how to play the position. So let's get into more about what I mean by angles, and it comes down to a couple of things. So the very first thing that you need to understand is that you always have to be gaining ground on the ball. So very rarely can you just sit back and wait on a ground ball at shortstop, unless it's just, an absolute rocket at you. You always have to be using your feet and cutting down the distance between yourself and the ball. And all great shortstops get into the ball and field through the ball. Plus, this is the only way you'll be able to survive a shortstop if you don't have the prototypical arm to play the position. So I know we talked about it earlier, you got to have a strong arm to play shortstop. Well, there's been shortstops in the big leagues. David Eckstein's one that comes to mind that didn't really have a great arm, but he was so good at understanding angles and always getting himself in a really good position quickly to field the ball by cutting down the distance and taking good angles that he didn't have to have a great arm because he was such a smart shortstop. He understood the position. He always knew how to play that spot, that he didn't need a great arm. So don't think if you don't have a great arm, well, I can't play shortstop. You can. You just got to be even better at some of these other ideas or other aspects of shortstop. So really quickly, I don't want to go in depth on everything because the video will be an hour long, but go back and watch our video on Jose Reyes, which goes more in depth about playing through the ball, getting into the ball, using your feet. You'll learn a lot from that video. So the second thing, and the most important part about angles, is to take the shortest and most direct route possible to the ball. And this is the part of the position that requires time to acquire. I'd say it's a total feel thing, and it's the hardest thing, at least for me and for a lot of guys, to pick up that are playing shortstop. So for a guy like me, who I played third base in college. I played shortstop in high school. I played third base in college. I was drafted as a third baseman. Then I went to play second base for a lot. And now later in my career, I've been more of a utility guy, which has moved around. When you go to shortstop and you have to play everywhere, you'll notice right away that this is the toughest part about shortstop, is learning those angles, understanding what balls you can get to, how you got to get to them the most efficient way possible. It takes time and it takes a lot of practice. So let's look at a few examples here about what I'm talking about. So when we're playing shortstop, there's 1,000 different ways to field each and every ground ball that's hit to us, depending on the speed of the ball, the speed of us, the speed of the runner, our arm strength, etc. There's a lot of things that go into every single ground ball. And in order to play shortstop, you need to learn the most efficient way to field every ball that might be hit at you. So let's look at a couple of examples here. So let's say we're playing shortstop, and let's just say we're positioned here, and we have a ball that's hit to our backhand side. Now there's 1,000 different ways that we could field that ball. We could come this way, we could go here, we could play it here, we could play it back on the grass with our backhand, we could play it way back on the grass. There's 1,000 different ways that you could possibly play it. So you have to really start to understand the speed of the runner, the speed of the ground ball. How fast are we? How good is our arm strength? If our arm strength isn't very good, we really can't be making too many plays back here. We're going to have to really come get the ball. But the idea is you need to learn all these things, and you need to get used to taking the route that, according to the speed of the ball, we can get to the ball in a short amount of time and still be able to throw the runner out depending on his speed. So how do we learn these angles? Well, the way you learn it is you have to practice it. And you have to have someone hit you all types of different ground balls, and you have to make the plays as close to game speed as you can so you can really get a feel for what you need to do to make the play. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go all out and crazy on every single practice rep, but you need to make sure that you're mixing these in. And it's not about, when I say game speed, I'm not talking about game speed, okay, let's move 1,000 miles an hour. Because game speed doesn't mean get out of control and go really, really fast. What game speed means is we know the runner runs, let's just say a 4.5 to first base, or whatever we want to, whatever level we're at, we'll use that speed. Game speed means take the right route, as efficient as possible, always moving this way. That's what game speed means. It doesn't mean go faster. It means be more efficient with our footwork. Take a shorter route possible, the shortest route that we can take, still being able to use our footwork the right way to catch the ball and make the throw to first base. So if you notice that you're always sitting back in practice, you're never gaining ground, you're never cutting down the distance, and you see that your cleat marks are always at the back of the dirt and you're not using your angles properly, then you know you have to change something. One way to see if you're really using your angles properly is by your cleat marks. So you should never see, if you're practicing at shortstop, you should never see your cleat marks just always moving this way. A lot of times younger infielders, you go watch where their cleat marks are, and they're always like this. They're just laterally across the dirt, and they might move back to the back of the dirt and maybe a little bit in here. But that's what you see. All the dirt is messed up here. What you want to see when you're playing shortstop is you want to see cleat marks this way, then cleat marks this way, and this way. Looks almost like a triangle. So there's not a whole lot of lateral movement. We're always taking the shorter route to the ball, in control, but we're always moving, gaining ground, cutting down the distance to the baseball. So that's one way you can see really if you're using your footwork the right way in practice. Look at your cleat marks, see where they are. Make sure they're not just laterally across the field, but that they're towards the plate so that we're attacking the ball, cutting down the distance. So as you can see, angles is really, I think, the biggest key to playing shortstop. And I don't want to have this video go on forever. There's obviously a bunch of things that come into play when playing shortstop. I think angles are the most important. And then really quickly, just so I don't make this video go on forever, I want to talk about the backhand play a little bit. Now, why I think using your backhand and being comfortable with your backhand is so important at shortstop. Now, you could play second base and not always take the greatest angles on balls and field them without using your backhand, because you can go this way, field it regularly between your legs, and you're not that far away, so you don't have to take a great angle. You don't have to use your backhand as much, and you can still make the throw. If you're playing shortstop, there's no way you can take a bad angle, field the ball normally between your legs, and make that throw. You'll never get them. So using the backhand and feeling comfortable with that backhand is extremely important at shortstop, because you're going to have to make these plays this way, field it with your backhand, and throw. You're not going to be able to take a long route all the way around the ball to field it normally. So you really have to be comfortable with your backhand to really make this play, to always take the good routes. You won't take the good routes and the good angles if you don't feel comfortable in your backhand. You're going to try to cheat. You're going to try to get around the ball all the time, always going around it. And sometimes you'll be able to get around the ball. If it's hit right here, just around it, throw to first. But if the ball's hit over here, you're not going to be able to take a route to get all the way around it to throw the first base. You're going to have to take a nice, crisp, short route, backhand the ball, and throw the first. So you really got to be comfortable with your backhand. Make sure you're getting those in at shortstop. So those are just some things. I'll try to keep making more videos, but those are some of the things that off the top of my head I think are some of the keys. Like I said, there's 1,000 different things we can talk about, but I don't want to make this video too long. I've already gone way too long. So let me know if you guys have any more questions or comments. I hope this helps you out, and take care.